Hello, hello. I'm aLex. We're here to get still together in do some very small movements that help us to return to refuge, to what I'm terming as just remembering how to get still, remembering the presence that is always here for us. And so a little bit of movement and some meditation under a half hour together. So get what you need to be comfortable. I've got a cup of water. I've got a cushion for my knee, which I'll set that under there. Maybe not right away. I've got a covering as this room will get chilly without my space heater on. And let's arrive together. If you're here in streaming time on Sunday morning, February 26, 2023, feel free to text in the chat and let me know you're here. This is Sun and Moon Yoga Studios space, one of their online spaces. Grateful to this community. And so as I talk a tiny bit, hopefully just a tiny bit, and then we get into some movement, choose the position you'd like to be in. Seated. Maybe it's just lying down. And let's begin to just notice what it feels like to fully arrive, to fully be here. We notice that partly through the feel of our body in this space, this spot where we are. And we only can know things. We feel and sense things relative to each other. And even maybe knowing, but I might take that on another tangent. We know something only in a contrast, in it's a unique form that is different from another form or forms. So my body against a particular feel of my upper legs, sits bones, pelvis, my butt against the folded blankets under me, again, that are on the carpet, that are on the tile floor in this room, that are in this gravitational field. So I feel myself heavy right here, maybe heavy in my base, a little bit lighter in my lungs, my head. Just taking a few moments to fully arrive. Sensing through the body and with our breath, noticing our breathing. And noticing whatever information comes to you, as for me just now, a deep sense of stillness even quite quickly appeared. So I'm actually going to have us transition here to a standing position. We'll do something standing and something seated, and then go right into our meditation. And if any of this, if you prefer to do this from another position, you can probably even do this from a lying down. What we're going to do standing, I'll give you an option. But if you can stand, let's come up to standing, and I'll shift the camera. This is called dropping the post. It's a Qigong movement. So I'm standing, my feet a little bit apart. And let's arrive here after this transition of coming up to standing. This will have a movement that pairs with the breath, but let's get the movement together first. So I come up onto my toes, my heels lift, and simultaneously I flex my hands so my palms face the floor, and then I drop the post. The heels drop. And so flex the wrists, lift up onto the balls of the feet, actually, heels lift, and drop the post. So a little bend in the knee. So inhale, lifting, flexing the wrists. Exhale, drop. Inhale, lift, and just drop. It's like a sledgehammering down into the ground. Inhale, lift, drop. One more time. Shaking this space, aren't I? All right, guys, my animals are curious of what's going on. And then just stand. Actually, we'll do the next part from standing. So I didn't give the instruction. If you were doing that from even lying down, you could have sort of done that same thing, kind of bending the knees and pushing out through the heels. Then maybe you figured it out. And I was going to transition. Yeah, I will. Let's transition to sitting. You can do this part I'm going to do from standing. You can do this also lying down on your back. Okay, arriving here. So that first movement was a sort of a jolting. Perhaps if you're feeling stuck, or just to raise the energy, it's a sort of centering a movement, really bringing us right here, but also I was sensing to shake up out of maybe a pattern that feels stuck. And this next movement is helpful to also center us, but also bring us out from our mind drifting all over the place, from anxiety. It can help bring the temperature down from a hot state of mind. This is a really, I find, well, you see how it is for you instead of me telling you. So hands come up. So my hands are maybe the level of my palms facing down is a little above my head. I mean, even way above my head, but my palms are like that facing down. Above, arms up above my head. So if you're lying down, do this the same orientation. So your arms are up above your head, not toward the sky. So we'll go in the direction of the body toward the feet, down toward the feet slowly. You might imagine this is a water level or temperature level, and we're just going to breathe naturally and slowly, slowly come down. And as the hands come down, imagine you're sensing the whole plane. So now about equal with my forehead, eyes, my mouth, the level of my chin and throat. Slowly, slowly breathing. Level of my middle chest. The level of my ribs. Lower ribs, rather. Upper rim of the hip bones. Golden ball level, just right down in the dantian. And down past my sits bones, past my legs, touching to the ground. If we were doing this standing, we would just kind of imagine our hands would come to our arms would come to full extension, and we just sense down all the way past our feet to the ground. And so we're just right here. Do what you need to be comfortable as I chat just a few minutes as a preamble to our meditation. And really, I'm just valuing, and you can check for yourself if you agree, or if there's something else, some other resolve or intention that you have to be here today. But for me, this returning to refuge, and I'm not a scholar of Buddhism, that term is often used in Buddhism, so my meaning may be a little different, but probably similar. is this just coming back to what is steady and permanent and always here, though our hearts and minds may drift away from it. And for me, you may have another reason this can be helpful for you today or on your path. Couple things shaking out of a pattern where I've felt stuck, as I use the movement for that as well. But to avail ourselves of the stillness and quiet can help us see more clearly, like the quintessential mud settling in a clear glass. At first things are murky and the water's not clear, but as we just be still, the mud will settle. And we get the gift of being able to see something that may have been outside the story that we've been telling ourselves, outside the interpretation, which can help free us of the stuckness. And one of my stucknesses has been a physical condition. Another has been kind of sadness, and maybe you share. There's just a lot of things happening in the world that may feel very heavy, and whether it's in your family or a community or your personal life or the world, again, all of us humans experience sometimes a perspective where that heaviness, that sorrow, that sadness can trap us when we may feel helpless, we may feel it's hopeless, we may feel anger about it. And when we come into refuge, where we are still with our essence, with our full presence, the unchanging presence, there are gifts there of whether sometimes it's just as simple as seeing the bigger perspective. Sometimes it's just to simply be. We get the inner guidance that we need to perhaps just be with the sadness. How do we be with? What does that even mean? And the refuge, the coming into that stillness, is really, for me, I think the only place that can become evident. Also in community. Also, community is essential for that too. So there's a balance of that, community and stillness. The Buddha, the Sangha, the Dharma. So the Buddha being that refuge, that permanence, that essence of ourselves. The Sangha being community. And the Dharma being the way or the truth, that clarity. It can have a number of facets to that particular gem, the three gems. And so let's segue right into some of that stillness for, let's say, about 7 minutes. Begin with a bell, and if you like, a bow. You can keep your seat just simple, but a few basics that you want to be steady and comfortable. And if you're seated in a chair, for instance, make sure the soles of the feet on the ground. Could be legs are crossed and you're in another position, but just find where you can be steady enough to stay still for these short minutes together. We drop back. It's as if we drop in and back. In, sort of to our center, back and down with gravity. We've been doing that, arriving here together. And be aware that the breath is here. Attention can lightly flow with your breath. Eyes could be closed or just a gaze downward, possibly barely open the eyes. So my simple trio of pointers: ground, that right here, center, back and down might be part of that for you. And breath and sound. Ground, breath, sound. Sound is this more horizontal, the being here. The ground is that verticality, that where right here is, that timeless. And sound and space around is the more horizontal. And we are meeting right here at the center of those. So attention lightly on any of those aspects can help just orient us to where we are right here at the center. And the more we find that, this refuge, we can let go and lightly be very receptive to what comes and goes, because everything besides the timeless, boundless, comes and goes. And so we are, in a sense, surrendering ourselves to this other kind of knowing that comes from that timeless, boundless clarity, knowing, a knowing that's it's more like a light shining. It's not really, doesn't need the contrast, but it shines a light that helps us to see, feel, know more clearly. And another element that's very helpful here, and also teachers from through the ages have pointed us to this, is this element of compassion, kindness. a warmth. Like an aspect of light is also its warmth, the clarity, the sort of the wisdom and compassion duo that are often given us, teachings given us. One without the other is unbalanced and not really complete. Bringing our palms together and bowing to bookend the end of our practice, and to maybe there's a sense, and you check for yourself if these are true for you, or maybe there may be something else. A sense of honoring this practice, a sense of the preciousness of it, recognizing that, a sense of respecting, not respect was the word, of gratitude, I'm missing the word, for each other. A sense of that word I'm missing, reverence maybe to ourselves, to our whole selves, mind, heart, body. So the refuge may be something, the warmth, the kindness and compassion, the refuge. As we sit, and this is just such a short sit together, but along the path of this practice, we sometimes feel we get it and then we don't get it. And often when we don't get it, we're wondering, how do we get back there? It's really very simple, but there is a sense of grasping that almost hinders us from doing that. But again and again, we come back, and to come back to the cushion, to sitting, to seeking our community that supports this practice, communities perhaps. And I would finally just like to say that, and a couple of things, so important when we feel like we don't get it, that we don't get too discouraged, or if we do get discouraged, to have in the back of your mind, remember that you haven't backslid. It's there. It's there for you. It's just not sure what is needed, and we just keep orienting to open ourselves, or ask what? Ask your deeper self, ask God, ask angels. This is an element that's also extremely powerful, where some of us have this very, very independent streak of, I've got to find it myself. Very helpful to be humble enough and to remember to ask. And the last thing is that what we do here, where we're still and silent, it's not different from when, so both are true when we're out in the world and we need to draw, perhaps because something's amiss, or things can be good, but we can also draw on that expansive sense of presence. But we can also open ourselves and ask for that to be shown. How do we, in the midst of something really intense, how can we come to this refuge, find this refuge for ourselves again? So we're on this path together. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. I'll see you back here next Sunday. Ciao, ciao.